Leo invested a certain amount of money for 1 year. He invested $1,000 of the amount at C% simple annual interest and the rest of the amount at D% simple annual interest. If the amount that Leo invested at C% and the amount that he invested at D% each earned $30 in interest for that year, what was the total amount that Leo invested for that year? Okay, so let's go and let's work on translating our prompt here. So he invested some amount that we don't know. Now, $1,000 of that amount, he invested at C% annual interest. So 1,000 times C%, which is not C. C% means C over 100. And he earned $30 at each of the rates. So that should be equal to 30. And that's his interest from the $1,000. And then the rest of the amount, so what would the rest of the amount? The rest of the amount, we can think of that as the total amount minus 1,000, so something like T minus 1,000. And that is at D over 100, because D%, and that also earned $30. And then we want to find T, the total amount he invested. Now it looks like we can find C from this first equation. So 1,000 divided by 100 is just 10. So 10C is equal to 30. So C is equal to 3, which means he invested this amount at 3%. But C is still equal to 3, not 3%. Otherwise, C would be equal to 0.03. C is equal to 3. And then, so really, if we want to find T, we need to find D. So either they can give us D, connect D to C somehow, or if they can just give us D somewhere, we can find T. In statement 1, it looks like they give us C in terms of D, so this is exactly what we want. So if C is equal to D minus 1, that means 3 is equal to D minus 1, D is equal to 4. Now I don't want D, I want T, but it looks like I'll be able to use this equation here to get it. So T minus 1,000 times 4 over 100 now, which is 1 over 25, is equal to 30. And so I don't have to solve this. I can see that I can solve for T here, so this is sufficient. And I would be moving on my actual test. I don't think this should be that hard though, because I can just multiply each side by 25 to get rid of my fraction on the left. And so 30 times 25, so 25 times 3 is 75, so 750. So T minus 1,000 is equal to 750, so T, my total amount invested, should be $1,750. Statement 2 says C is equal to 0.75 D. So this is the same thing. So we should be able to get what D is here. And then once that happens, so let's confirm that our D matches. We should get D of 4. 3 is equal to 3/4 D. Multiply each side by 4/3. And we should get 4/3 times 3 is equal to D. D is equal to 4. And after that, we don't got to find T again, but each of these statements are sufficient. And so this question reads a lot more complicated, I think, than it actually is. If you just slow down to go faster, that's my approach. So take the time to translate your prompt. Your statements are easy, and I would almost, I'm like on an actual test, I would almost just glance at these statements and say, oh, D, because once I get this, once I see, oh, I have C, so really I only have this equation left. Well, if I want T, I need D, and I can get D from each of my two statements.